In this video, we're going to talk about updating Retroarch on the Xbox Series X and S to the latest version. Alright everybody, new versions of Retroarch constantly come out, so this video is here to show you how to update to the latest builds. Depending on your setup, this can be quite easy, a little more complicated, but still fairly easy as long as you have access to your FTP stuff. But anyway, let's just dive into it. Alright, to get started, we're going to talk about if you have your files stored on the internal SSD of your Xbox, because you're going to want to back stuff up before updating to the newest build, because once you uninstall Retroarch, it deletes all the folders within itself. So step 1 to backing things up, open up Durango FTP, and start your file server. Now over on your computing device of choice, open up your Xbox's FTP file share using your preferred method. And if you're running your stuff from the Q drive, go into your local folder, find your old Retroarch folder, the local state folder, and we want to back up our config files, our thumbnails, our system folder, our save states, our saves, our playlist folders. So we're just going to select all those and then just drag them over to your desktop. And done. I have all my important folders backed up and ready to go. Alright, so that will apply to both dev mode and retail users. If you're on dev mode and have you moved your folders over to the S drive, you can back those up using Durango as well. You can access your S drive, program files, Windows apps, find your Retroarch folder with the X64 at the end, and back up all of your important folders. So thumbnails, playlists, states, config, saves, system, and your games folder. Now, if you have moved your important folders over to USB, as shown in my Run Your Retroarch System folder from USB guide, this applies to both dev mode and retail mode. If you've moved your folders to USB, you don't have to back them up. They're already on a separate storage device and ready to go, making it the most easy and straightforward method to upgrading your build of Retroarch as time goes on. You don't have to back anything up. It's already there. It's not going to get deleted when you uninstall the current version of Retroarch. And as such, this is honestly my preferred method of running Retroarch now. Have a link to this guide if you want to follow along with that, get it all set up. Like, it's super convenient, makes upgrading super easy. You never have to really worry about losing your stuff. Alright, so dev mode users, once you have all of your important folders backed up, head over to retroarch.com, head to the downloads page, and download the latest version of Retroarch, as well as the Visual Studio runtime libraries. And then you can head over to your Xbox's device portal, find your old version of Retroarch, and tell it to uninstall. And then you'll just probably have to refresh the page real quick. But then we can go up to Add, and we can browse to where we have downloaded the new version of Retroarch. Select that, and then choose the dependencies of Microsoft VC Libs, and then start the install. And all set. And then for those of you on retail mode, you will want to uninstall the current version of Retroarch using the My Games and Apps uninstall method, and then you can download the new version of Retroarch from Gamer13's GitHub. And of course, you could follow along with either the dev mode or retail mode guides to getting that all set up if you need more instructions on that. But now, regardless if you're running in retail mode or dev mode, you're going to want to start Retroarch at least one time to make sure that all of the file systems are just put back into place here. And then from here you could head to the online updater, you could download the assets, so that way everything is back to normal, at least visually. Then also update the core info files, controller profiles, cheats if you want to, databases, overlays if you want to, and then shaders if you want to. And once you have all these updated, just go ahead and back out, and then we could quit out of Retroarch. And then relaunch into Durango FTP and start the file share. And then from here, you could place all of your important folders back in either your Q drive or your S drive if you're doing an S drive install. S drive install is really not necessary anymore with USB being a really good thing, but do what you want to do. Anyway, local folder, I'm going to find my Retroarch folder, my local state folder, and I'm just going to drag all of these folders right back in. Or if you want to put them back into your S drive path, S drive, program files, Windows apps. Might need to do a refresh, but find your new Retroarch folder. Mine is right here. It doesn't say Retroarch on it, but you can tell from the version number with the X64 at the end here, 1.10.1. And then you could just drag them all inside. But for anyone in dev mode or retail mode running everything under the Q drive, you're now ready to begin resuming your games. All your paths are already defaulted, your folders and files are placed, you're good to go. If you're running from USB like myself, you will need to redirect some directory settings. Same with S drive users, but I'm not going to cover S drive anymore. But anyway, to redirect the directory settings, head down to settings, press up, go to directory. So I'm just going to change all my directories over. Again, never touch cores or core info file locations. And once you have all your directory files changed over, just back out to the main menu, go to the configuration file, and save the current config. And now we can quit out of Retroarch. And when we relaunch it, we have all of our playlists and everything back to how it was and good to go. But there's a few more things we'll want to change here because, as you can see, we have things that aren't as necessary, like our images, music, that awful Explore tab is back. So head over to Settings, head down to User Interface, and you can change what is appearing and what isn't. So, for example, kill that Explore tab as quick as you can. It just dies. It's bad. And then I'm going to get rid of music, images. I also don't use favorites, so I'm going to disable that one for my personal preference. And then you also want to make sure to set a new Retroarch quick menu hotkey because it's not there anymore. So head into Input, Hotkeys, Menu Toggle Controller Combo, choose one of the available options. I like to use Hold Start. And then we can also change up our video settings again. So, for example, go into scaling. You can turn on integer scaling if you want it, as well as automatic frame delay to help with input latency. But again, once you have everything set the way you want it to, head back into the main menu, config file, and save the current config. And then we'll quit out of Retroarch and start it up again one more time. And there we go. We have a much cleaner looking setup here. So just a quick rundown on this current build, 1.10.1. They added in a new standalone core section, so that way things like 2048, Rick Dangerous, Mr. Boom, Minecraft, all this stuff is just on its own now in its own separate little subfolder, instead of being part of the normal load content, load core sections. Another really handy addition to this build of Retroarch, and all versions of Retroarch moving forward, is that inside the online updater now, you'll see there is this core system files downloader. And this is awesome for a number of games. So for example, Final Burn Neo, you can download this and it will place your highscore.dat file automatically. Dolphin, you will now have a Dolphin system folder added automatically. PPSSPP, you will now have your PPSSPP system folder placed automatically. PR Boom, like all these files that you will now not have to manually add yourself. Like, this is awesome. But once you have everything set, you can just go ahead and start enjoying some games. And there we go, back up with GameCube games with all of my original files and settings in place. But that's going to do it for this one. As always, if you happen to have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to try to help you out. But now, if you could all do me a couple of huge favors here at the end of the video. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like or dislike button, just depending on how much you like this video, and hit that sub button notification bell so you can see when new content goes live on the channel. Loads of content coming your way, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. For anyone interested in further helping support the channel, you can also check out that join button here on YouTube, or the Patreon link in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. A little goes a long way to keeping this place up and running, and we're super grateful to each and every one of you who have done so already. Thank you for being our champions, y'all rock! But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you back next video.